All right, we will see if we are live or not. It says I'm streaming on Facebook now, and it's sending it to YouTube. Should be live on both. So if you're out there and you're hearing this, please let me know, and make sure you let me know if you can hear me. It's the first time I've had this whole system set up in quite a while. So while I await for confirmation on if I can be seen or heard, anyways, welcome to Severe Weather Tracking. Bet you didn't think this was going to be on December 28th, but here we are. Let's see, streaming. Okay, cool. Okay, somebody liked, I think, me live on Facebook. Somebody can put a chat message in or send me a text message and just let me know that I'm not talking to myself and the cats. That would be cool. And then I'll dive into tracking this. Oh, you can hear me. Oh, and hi, James. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate it. Facebook, cool. I believe I'm good on YouTube as well. So, hello, meteorologist Brian Wolf here. You probably know who I am. I really didn't expect to be joining you in late December, but yet here we are. I think in Orange County it got to about 70, 71 degrees. Actually, we may still be near our high temperature for today. Yeah, right at 70 degrees right now. Peak wind about 45 miles per hour at my house so far. All right, so here's what we got going on across the area. Line of thunderstorms coming through. I just want to preface all of this by saying you're not. There's going to probably be isolated tornado warnings. The first thing I want to say, and I don't want to take away any seriousness from tornado warnings, the majority of these this far south in the line have been radar indicated. Thanks, Steve. Radar indicated. And with that, we're seeing very weak. So these would be EF0, EF1 tornadoes. I'm not thinking we're getting to the strength of EF2. So even if these radar indicated tornado warnings that have kind of been popping up, we had one over towards Bloomfield not long ago. We had one that was headed towards Dale down to the southwest not too long ago. Those are just areas of brief spin up. And when you get conditions that are this windy outside of thunderstorms, I mean, you can just hear it roaring outside. You get something called directional shear. So you can get speed shear, which is where you've got faster winds on top of other winds, and that creates rotation. There's a lot of other factors that have to go into play. And then you can get directional shear, okay, where it's maybe from the south southwest or the south at the ground, and then as you go up in the atmosphere, it actually changes direction. So there's two different kinds of shear that you can be dealing with. So let's go ahead and let's do a tour around the area. If I actually back out of this, the pink areas will be tornado warnings that have been activated. So this one's down by Henderson, Kentucky. The red that you see are severe thunderstorm warnings. So just to kind of set the stage for what we're looking at, this is that squall line, so to speak, that's going to be moving through the area. So let's go ahead and start here. Evansville currently under severe thunderstorm warning. And the reason we're talking about this is these are going to be moving towards our direction. Dubois County, Perry County, Spencer County, Crawford, Orange. Lawrence is going to be getting in this right now, actually, because of the way that the line is oriented from northeast to southwest. So down around Evansville, that severe thunderstorm warning. The hazard with that are 60 mile per hour winds. Those are trained weather spotters that have noticed that. That storm is moving east at 45 miles per hour, so you could see damage to roofs, siding, trees, etc. Okay, that is in effect until about another 39 minutes. If you're in the Jasper area or down by Dubois County, this severe thunderstorm warning is located along a line extending from near Shoals to Linville, moving east at 50 miles per hour. Again, these are radar indicated 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Again, damage potential to roofs, siding, trees, depending upon what kind of structure you live in at the time. Locations to be impacted by this warning right here, making sure you can see me circle that, would be Linville, Winslow, Spurgeon, and Mackay. So again, that is going on, and that is until 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's another 8 minutes. Let's move up. There's a very large, if you see this whole area right here is one gigantic severe thunderstorm warning. This is now impacting Bedford, so over towards Williams as well, up Bloomington. It actually just passed through Bloomington, as the radar is always typically about 6 to 7 minutes behind. This severe thunderstorm warning, though, it is in effect until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, no, excuse me. That's the tornado watch. This is storm, let's see, prompted the warning and moved out of the area. The warning, that is a current warning. Let me get a fresh take on this and go here. Okay, here we go. 60 mile per hour wind gusts, radar indicated. This is in effect for another 22 minutes until 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is for Monroe County, southeastern Morgan County, Brown, Johnson, northwestern Bartholomew. So locations being impacted by this. We just talked about how Bloomington, see, they just went ahead and updated that. The warning line there. It's not yet come into Orange County, but it will be very soon. Shoals is probably getting hit by this, these potential wind gusts right now. Again, this is just a standard severe thunderstorm warning. But it looks like this is impacting those areas, 60 mile per hour winds. Bloomington, Bedford, Franklin, Nashville, Shoals, which is right now, Whiteland, Bargersville, Lagodi, Princess Lake, Olytic, Trafalgar, Morgantown, Alfordsville, Peoga, Smithville, Lake Lemon, Bean Blossom, Bartlettsville, Williams, and Avoca. Sorry if I pronounced any of those wrong, but this is a very large severe thunderstorm warning. And so really we're going to focus on these two warnings as they will be what's moving into our area. One thing I want to point out when you're looking at this radar, again, the red boxes indicate just severe thunderstorm warnings. The pink boxes represent tornado warnings. So that would be down here around Henderson. So actually, if you're in Henderson, Kentucky, that warning is probably headed in your direction. Let's see, that's in effect for another 21 minutes. It's just radar indicated rotation from that storm. So again, pink's tornado warning, red severe thunderstorm warning. The radar updates every 6 to 7 minutes or so. Bedford right now probably being hit. Let me check with a friend from west of Bedford and see if maybe, well, actually, let me look at the chat. Let's say, I did say 6 or 7. Ready for summer. Can you do that? Sorry, Helen. It's going to be a while. And actually, it's going to be very, very, very cold the next 48 hours. What do we have in terms of, Steve? Most of the wind should be starting to, well, I say calm down. You're probably past the 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust. Have those passed you? Those should be bearing down on Bedford as we speak, like downtown Bedford. And then let's see here. Downtown Bedford, again, they should be out of Bloomington by now. Now, here's the one thing we do need to point out. If once these storms move through the area, the winds are going to continue, okay? The gust potential over 45 to 60 miles per hour that you're seeing with this line of storms, that's going to kind of go away after this line moves through and it's moving from northwest to southeast. However, we are going to see probably wind gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour pretty much until 6 a.m. or so tomorrow morning. So this is just kind of what we need to be watching out for right now. Another thing you need to notice on this radar is anywhere where you see red, immediately up next to this blue. So where you see red, if it's bordering up in front, like the very front of the thunderstorm, that would indicate straight line winds and likely wind damage, okay? If you can see like this area, let me see, yeah, right here. See how there's this dark blue and then it gets into green and then it gets into yellow, orange, and then red. This area right here, you still might see 50-mile-per-hour winds, 55-mile-per-hour gusts, but it's not going to be as impactful as maybe some of these areas where this color gradient is a lot tighter. Now, this is a cumulative reflectivity. So what that means is when the radar scans the atmosphere, it picks out the highest reflectivity, which is the units are dBz. So it's going to pick out the highest dBz reflectivity that it sees in the whole column of the atmosphere, and then it's going to plot it on this radar map. So this radar map always looks more intimidating than it actually is. If we go to base reflectivity, this is what base reflectivity looks like. So you're not getting that strongest signal from anywhere in the atmosphere, okay? And there's different levels, there's different scanning levels within a storm as well. This is base reflectivity at 3.5 degrees. You can see these storms are not real tall. We'll click on tops here. So what this is showing you is the actual height of the cloud tops, and this scale over here on the left in thousands of feet, 10,000s of feet. So for instance, you've got these storms here, the one Bedford and north towards Oolitic. That storm is right around 30,000 foot tall. And then you do see a weakening or a shallowness to the clouds associated with this part of this line. And this would be southwestern Lawrence County. That could mean a couple of things. It could mean that that area is weakening. You also see that if a tornado has actually dropped, you'll see the tops of the clouds sometimes kind of drop a couple thousand feet. We have no rotation. We have no tornado warning here, so that's not of a concern. Another area here, you're seeing this this area of this storm in southern Martin County around Shoals that goes over into Orange County. You're seeing that as around 30,000, 25, 30,000 foot. So these aren't extraordinarily tall clouds. If you look at VIL, which is vertically integrated liquid, this is showing the potential for hail. The Shoals, the storm that's passing through Shoals right now, would be showing the highest VIL. But I'm going to tell you right now, seeing 20 to 25 kilograms per meter squared as a unit for that storm, that's melting before it reaches the ground, especially when the surface is at 70 degrees. So back to cumulative reflectivity. Again, this looks a little bit more severe than it is. I see no active tornado warnings across the area. The only one I see is down towards Henderson. I'll go ahead and introduce this. Now, this is called storm relative velocity. So those of you that have been through severe weather tracking with me before, or just paid attention online, you see that there's obviously rotation. So whatever site that this is pulling from radar, which by the way, this is KLVX, which is the Louisville radar there near Louisville in Kentucky. The red means that it's going away from the radar, so you got winds blowing away from the radar. You've got green, which are winds blowing towards the radar, and so obviously the stronger and the brighter the colors and the closer they are right next to each other can indicate rotation. If you were to take a stick and do this back and forth, that stick is going to be rotating. So again, this is not great rotation with this storm, and it's very shallow. This is 1.5 degrees. To be honest, it picking it up here, there could be a very weak tornado just south of Henderson, Kentucky, actually, which is south of Evansville. That'll track off to the east-northeast. So it'll be, but even the 0.5 degree storm relative velocity there is very weak. I think that's more of just a precautionary type of deal. As we look in through here to the north, you see all this red because these are winds at this level that are blowing away from the radar. As you scan a little lower on the storm system, you can see where there's some green where it's blowing towards the radar. Base reflectivity, here we go. This is our current setup here. I'll go ahead and play out this loop and you can see it come through. It's actually thinning out a little bit to the north than what it was just about an hour ago. I'm not surprised by that. We're now starting to reach the area where we're too far away from the instability axis, which was further up north. And so I'm not sure that we'll see much more in the way of tornado warnings, maybe one or two that are just precautionary brief spin ups of rotation that they have to, it crosses a threshold, they have to issue it. I'll go ahead and pause this and we'll go to the latest scan so we can see going through Bedford there. No warning in Orange County yet, but I would expect that to change imminently, as they typically have kept the warning along this whole line. I'm really surprised the northern part of Dubois County does not have a severe thunderstorm warning attached to it along and north of Jasper. So let me go back in the chat area and see if anybody's asking anything. Don't hear anything here. It's hammering up here. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing those are winds solidly at around 60. You might have even gotten gusts of 65 miles per hour in and around Bedford right now. So, I don't want to quite give away where you live, Lori, but I don't think you're quite in the action yet. But let's see, you commented that about 6 minutes ago. So, I do think you're going to be seeing the wind gusts pick up over the next 15 minutes or so. You said that channel 42 is BS. That's funny. 41. Well, they, I'm sure, do a good job. I trust my education. Let's see. Loud wind in Seaburg right now. Yeah, absolutely. So, that's just going to be getting stronger, those gusts, Casey. I don't expect Campbellsburg, if we zoom in here to where Campbellsburg is at and see if I can get it on the screen. Campbellsburg, right here. And then you got Saltillo along State Road 60 there. And then here's Mitchell. So you can see Mitchell here, between Mitchell and Bedford, really in the impact now. Sorry, I've got a screen over there, so I'm kind of making sure that I know what you're saying. I would say you still probably have a solid 20 to 40 minutes before it gets to Campbellsburg. Let's see if anybody else said anything. How's Campbellsburg going to be affected? Same thing, really. Actually, if we see, they went ahead and extended the severe thunderstorm warning out across Brownstown, up near Columbus, Jennings. I mean, they've extended it all the way over to the east. Whereas and this is what's interesting, the Washington County and Orange County areas are controlled by the warnings coordinator in Louisville, the Louisville Weather Service, whereas Lawrence County and North are controlled by, and I think that's Jackson County, I believe, where Brownstown's at, but correct me if I'm wrong, controlled by the Indy Weather Service. So it's really interesting that the Louisville Weather Service has yet to want to extend any warnings. That doesn't take anything away. They may be interpreting the data and the criteria differently. I still say that the potential for wind gust upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour along this line, even if you're in Orange County, I think is still very plausible. So just because there's not a warning issued, I wouldn't just feel safe and comfortable and go to sleep. Mitchell, wind is ripping. Yeah, actually, let's see. We were just looking at Mitchell. If we zoom into Mitchell, again, this radar is 6 to 7 minutes behind, so you're likely to see the strongest winds in Mitchell probably within the next 5 minutes. The east side of Bedford is getting it now, so out actually east of Otis Park Golf Course. And then that line will actually be headed off towards Medora. Remember, this line is going to be traveling a little faster than you think. I mean, this one warning here, let's see what it shows. Oh, it's moving at, yeah, these storms are moving at 60 to 65 miles per hour. So if you think about getting in a car and going that fast and not having to make any turns, as the crow flies, we're seeing that this is nearing in. We're in Orange County now, so this is northwestern Orange County. Not giving me too many places there. You got Orleans, West Baden, and French Lick. Again, this radar being behind just a minute or two, they, anytime in the next 5 minutes, will start to get in on these wind gusts associated with this line. We don't see any warnings there until you get down just south of Evansville. Again, the Indy Weather Service is really, they're not taking any chances. They're just issuing warnings ahead of time of 60 to 65 mile per hour wind gust associated with this line. Once this line goes through, we're going to see those, 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts that we've seen here over the last couple of hours. from the latest models, we actually looked at the wind gust. The strongest non-thunderstorm wind gusts are actually going to occur between midnight and about like 5 a.m. If you can believe that. So, and again, we are now to the period where over the next 12 hours, the temperature is going to drop about 45 to 50 degrees. And you heard me say that right. In the next 12 hours, the temperature, I think it's 70 at my house right now. It will drop around 45 degrees by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So kind of wild if you think about it. I've heard somebody throw out a term of flash freezing. Again, think about the wind. It's going to increase the evaporation rates. You may see some areas that are slick in the morning where water normally stands, or ponds like an inch thick. But otherwise, that's just a hype term that really needs to go away. Let's see. Wind speed of 67. Is that correct? Well, I don't know if you're making a 6-7 joke or not, knowing you, but it absolutely is plausible that it's 67 mile per hour wind gust. Yes. That should be through where you live, actually, there. Yeah, Helen, those winds are going to continue to ramp up until this line moves through. In Salem, you're looking at probably another 45 minutes to an hour before this line is actually through you, I would say. Winds have died down in Fayetteville. Yeah, and if you look actually out that way, Fayetteville being over here, don't direct quote me there. I don't think it'll let me zoom in that much. No, just Williams. But that main line is through that area. You may see some more rain showers. I would be interested actually to see what some of the estimated rainfall rates are. Let me see if this switches over. Let me try to do something real fast. And I may completely mess all this up. Okay, I'm switching to a different program. So the program I'm going to switch to, I want to see, we'll do 1 hour QPE. So this is the quantitative precipitation estimation. So this would be how much rain in the past hour does the radar estimate that's fallen. And if we look up towards the Williams, Bedford area, you're seeing where it's got up to around a ½ inch. So between 1/4 and ½ inch fallen, with some isolated spots in there around ½ inch. So again, about what we called this morning. Let me see if I can turn back on my other radar. Sweet. I don't think the Louisville National Weather Service has issued anything. No, they're still kind of bullish on this. So they're a great team down there, so I don't doubt any of their stuff. Let's see. The 6-7 was a joke. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yes. Okay. Well, anyways, here we go. Reset the scene. If you're new here, let me check some of the comments and see if anybody's commented anything. So is what we have, again, a line of thunderstorms. Some are deemed severe thunderstorms. Some are not deemed severe thunderstorms. I don't think that takes anything away. I think if you are anywhere that's going to get hit by this line, I definitely think you should just be aware of potential 55 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts. I don't think the Louisville Weather Service has issued anything. It's not popped up on here yet. So Orange and Washington County with no severe thunderstorm warning. The red indicates severe thunderstorm warnings. And just because you're crossing county lines doesn't mean the thunderstorm gets any weaker. So again, don't be faced by that. It is moving in right now. If we zoom into the West Baden French Lick area, they are probably experiencing increasing winds and some gusts between 50 and 60 miles per hour that are isolated. The only saving grace here is that you do have this area of green and then yellow before you get to orange and the red. If that red were up against the edge, so some stronger wind gust would be right here in this area. So headed towards Orleans. I mean, who knows if it's going to continue to stay like that or not. But this area would have slightly stronger winds at the surface that are straight line than this area right here. Just kind of how it works. So, and these storms, they fluctuate constantly. So, take that really for what it is. It's moved through Bedford at this time, so moving into eastern Lawrence County and then Mitchell. So Mitchell right now is experiencing probably those winds, those stronger wind gusts, I'm assuming at this exact moment. And I should probably preface this before my home gets hit by this. If I lose power, which not wanting to bad talk anybody from a town that I live in, but a lot of times my home tends to lose power easily with wind and rain and thunderstorms. If that happens, I'll just do text updates on Facebook only. I know I've been on live before and my power has gone out, so just FYI, I'll come back on if the power comes on, but if I lose power, I'll just be doing text updates on Facebook. All right. As we head back down and look here, okay, here's an updated scan right now. Still no warning for Orange or Washington County. Lawrence County and that severe thunderstorm warning, pretty good winds up there. Mitchell undergoing it right now. That's all headed off towards Medora and eventually Brownstown there in Jackson County. We're awaiting anything in Washington County right now, so I would say it's calm there, but it's still probably 40-mile-per-hour wind gust. Paoli is soon to be hit, probably in the within the next 10 minutes. I'm going to say the gusts are going to continue to kind of ramp up, but it'll be through Paoli within about 30 minutes. And then we move further south. It's east of Jasper. Next kind of in line there would be English there in Crawford County. Also Marengo. Birdseye is probably closer, even though that section of the storm doesn't look to be as severe. See the difference between this is composite reflectivity, this is base reflectivity. So you can kind of see the difference there where it takes the highest radar reflectivity and kind of overlays it. I like this because this is what you're seeing at the surface on the lowest scan possible. Still no warnings across our area. I do want to check and just see if there's any type of rotation. I know if you're in Orange County right now and you've been listening to me, you're probably seeing this red and this green next to each other. That's on the 0.5, so that's on like the base scan, so really low in the storm. If you actually scan up to a degree and a half, which is higher in the storm, look at this. Okay, you've only got one little green dot. The rest are winds blowing away from the radar. So again, I'm not too concerned about this. This area has grown right here. And also something interesting is this right here. I'll be interested to see what happens with this storm because I'm on 2.5 degree storm relative velocity. Nothing anywhere else to the north. But if you're down here, let's see what's near Birdseye. If you're down in Birdseye right now, this is something interesting to watch. There's rotation being picked up, not at the surface. So this is interesting. Not at the surface. Of course, I'm nerding out right now, but not at the surface, right? But it's on the 1.5 and 2.5 degree scans, which means there is rotation in this, but it's up in the cloud. It's not come down. And part of this equation is you have to have a strong enough downdraft in the storm to actually take the rotation and move it down. So I'll be interested to see if they undergo a warning or anything of that nature. Let's see. I think they just updated that scan, and I see that rotation's real weak. It's already gone. Tops of these storms, yeah, you're right around 30,000 feet. Nothing real impressive there across the area. You do have one area here on the Jackson Bartholomew County line that's got about 35,000 foot heights, so that could be a strengthening thunderstorm. Let's see, Ville. Again, this is indicating hail. I don't see anything as far as a hail threat is concerned, so we'll come back to base reflectivity, reset the stage, severe thunderstorm warnings. For right now, the Louisville Weather Service is not wanting to issue a warning for Orange County. French Lick, West Baden, again, those gusts are going to be continuing, but they're probably mainly out of those gusts. Paoli, I'm going to assume within the next 5 minutes should be getting their stronger wind gust. Orleans probably starting right now on their wind gust. Mitchell should be, now that the majority of the strongest part of that line is moving east, they should be starting to calm down. And then we'll turn attention. Medora here probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes. They're under severe thunderstorm warnings to the north, to the south of the Orange-Lawrence line and the Washington-Jackson line. No warnings are in effect currently. Again, I wouldn't just rest easy on that. I mean, you know me by now. I don't hype things up, but I do believe that the same threat that exists in Lawrence County and Jackson County is the same threat that will exist in Orange County and likely Washington County. So again, 55 to 65 mile per hour wind gust. If you live in a structure that is brick or mortar and it's very strong and you've got all your stuff put up outside, really you should mainly be okay. So nothing to really panic about. If you live in a structure that does not have a foundation, you definitely might want to continue paying attention. Let's see if we've got any. Oh, let's say. Oh, thanks for the display setup. Appreciate it. Pretty windy around Hardinsburg and Fredericksburg. Yeah, and that'll just continue. You're not going to get that line to go through there until, Hardinsburg probably 10 to 15 minutes. Pretty much died down between Bedford and Mitchell. Yeah, that line is through your area. So just some small little showers and stuff, and you'll continue to see those 30 to 40 or even 45 mile per hour wind gusts through about 6 a.m. So I know you specifically, Lori, and even though you're not going to see snow, maybe it's somewhat exciting to see the temperature drop 50 degrees in 20 hours. So that's, I can't stay up late anymore, or else I would, because that's fun. This is what we're looking at, though, across the area. Not a whole lot of anything in Washington County, Harrison, Floyd, Clark, Scott County. Not a whole lot of anything yet. We're kind of awaiting this as the line is oriented northeast to southwest. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning here just east of Henderson and in southern Warwick County, headed over into Spencer County. And then that severe thunderstorm warning, I'm assuming, has been canceled in Martin County. It's probably getting ready to be canceled in Lawrence County in the next 10 minutes as we are getting close to this extreme northwestern part of Washington County. Let's see. Paoli. If you live in Paoli right now, it should be starting to ramp up wind speed wise. Let me see. I'm checking. Temperature still right at 70. Yeah, and so just trying to check my wind speeds. If anybody gets any other wind speeds or any other information, be sure to come on here and add it. This is base reflectivity. I mean, so you can see how strong this storm line is if I turn on cumulative. Tops are still right there at around 30,000 feet. No hail really to speak of. Storm relative, don't see a whole lot of anything here. Again, just this line moving through as we predicted. Yeah, I'll turn on cumulative reflectivity. And you can kind of see what it looks like. It's not quite that wide. If anybody's watching from French Lick, I would be curious to know, but I'm betting it's winding down there. Let's see. Yeah, no snow. Beginning of January, though, there's a chance in the first week of January, there's a chance of 2 Clipper systems and a low pressure system out of the Great Plains that could be fun to watch. That's about as much future hype as you're going to get out of me. But as we found out the other day, Clipper systems can, in fact, bring us a pretty good amount of snow. So we'll just have to stay tuned on that. It's going to be cold most of the rest of the week. Still got that. There you go. They went ahead and updated it. That severe thunderstorm warning in southeastern Lawrence County. Almost the entirety of Jackson County, Jennings County, Bartholomew, up towards Shelby County and Decatur. It's a little weaker up there, but you've also got to keep in mind another thing with radar is the further you get away from the radar, the scan actually is angled like this. So the further a location gets away from that radar, the weaker the storm's going to actually look. And it's not actually weak, it's just the fact that it's further away from the radar. So the reason why you're seeing things start to decay strength-wise to the north is just it's too far away from the radar. In that case, we would switch to an Indianapolis radar. I can confirm that it is hitting some of these locations in through this region right now. At least the precipitation is concerned. So again, I'll say it one more time. If I lose power, I will update text updates on Facebook. But kind of like I was expecting over the last 48 hours, we're in this area down here now. We're further away from the instability axis of the low pressure. Oh, here you go. The Louisville Weather Service has issued their first severe thunderstorm warning, and they have issued it for northern Crawford County, southern Orange County. That would head off. That would include the Hardinsburg region. That would include the Fredericksburg, Palmyra, Marengo, Milltown, just north of English. This portion of the cell, let me see if I see anything special with it. Well, there's, I'm going to say this. There's rotation showing on all three levels of the scans, albeit very weak. I wouldn't get too worked up about it, but let's read what they've put out. This is in effect in southern Orange County, northern Crawford County, and then southwestern Washington County and northwestern Harrison County until 9 p.m. Eastern Time, so another 22 minutes. It's moving east at 45 miles per hour. Again, that threshold of 60 mile per hour winds they are looking at in its radar indicated. Paoli under the gun right now in terms of getting the winds. Orleans as well. If you live in Saltillo, Campbellsburg, etc., you're within 10 minutes of starting to get this. I can confirm that it is storming pretty bad there in central Orange County. I'm interested on this. I'm not concerned about like a tornado, but it's interesting that we're seeing a little bit of rotation at the 2.5 degree, the 1.5 degree, and the 0.5 degree. I do want to preface this by saying if any area undergoes a tornado warning, it would be very weak and it would be very brief. And I say weak, I mean winds no more than 115 miles per hour. They would be relatively small. Still would cause damage, but nothing hopefully too damaging if that were to happen. That's not what this is. This is a severe thunderstorm warning currently. Again, if I go ahead and continue reading this, locations to be impacted include English, Marengo, Milltown, Hardinsburg, Fredericksburg, Ethel, Valine, Pine Valley, Fairdale, and is that actually pronounced Bacon? I will say that on this particular storm, it does say precautionary, remain alert for a potential tornado. Tornadoes can develop quickly from severe thunderstorms. So just be alert in this area right here. If you live in any of these areas from English to Marengo, Milltown, Hardinsburg, Valine, south of Paoli. Okay, so something to kind of, you can see where I'm talking about here, where that storm has got that very, very weak rotation on all levels. You can even kind of see it in the cumulative radar. You can kind of see like that would be a rain-wrapped type of rotation in that storm right there. The tops in that storm are not unusually tall, so still right around 20 to 25,000 feet. Paoli still should be getting some right now. Orleans, again, still getting some. Saltillo and Campbellsburg, you'll be in on the action here shortly. Back out just a little bit so everybody can see. The red are severe thunderstorm warnings. We have no tornado warnings into effect. Currently, we do have 5 severe thunderstorm warnings. This is all out of the Louisville weather radar. See if anybody has any other questions or anything. Let's see. Should you get in a safe place in Hardinsburg? I mean, depending upon the type of structure you live in, and no, I'm not asking you to say that. But you know, it might not hurt to get into a more centralized area of wherever you live. Um, Even a 65 mile per hour wind gust could still cause damage. It could send something through a window. It could cause a tree to fall. So I would recommend that you be closer. I don't think you're going to be getting in on the action in Hardinsburg until probably probably another 10 minutes or so. But again, this radar's behind, so maybe in the next 5 minutes might not be a bad idea. Um, oh, Mr. Mills, it's actually a Canadian town, is it? Oh, Ham. Oh, you're making a joke, I hope. It's too late for me to get this stuff. So anyways, this is kind of what we've got going on across the area. An updated scan here. They still have that severe thunderstorm warning in place. Let's see. Still to the north, exiting out of Lawrence County, some general rain there. It is entering northwestern Washington County now. Should be starting to settle down just a little bit in Paoli, but in English, obviously, should be picking up here. This looks, let's see, storm relative, storm relative, storm relative. Yeah, I mean, there is still a small little rotation there. Nothing to really write home about. But you can see it's right on the Orange Crawford County line. This road right here, if you could see, it would be 37 South. So it'll be crossing the 37 South Orange Crawford County line here, probably as we speak. But I do see a little bit of rotation on all three different levels. So might not be a bad idea. Here's the updated scan. So it would be crossing that region as we speak, just north of English. And we'll probably, if I'm being honest, that will track right along the Orange Crawford County line off and to the east. Let me back out and see if anything else has been. No. Okay. That's kind of what we're looking at here. If we do base reflectivity, takes away a little bit of the intensity. There's cumulative reflectivity. This is kind of what we're looking at. So the main action right now is going to be the storm in southern Orange County, northern Crawford County. What's up, Dakota? Yeah, Brad, I think you and Zach may have pulled a prank on me. Somebody already got me to say 6'7", which, let's be honest, that's like 6 months old now. That needs to like go away. And this bacon ham joke, I don't even know. Anybody else got any observations from Orange County? Anybody that lived in Paoli, Orleans, Mitchell? Should just be a regular, honestly, it should be a regular line of thunderstorms. The only thing that makes this a little bit more intense is the fact that it's been so windy, you can get brief areas of vorticity inside this line. Go back into the program here. But you saw how fast that popped up, that severe thunderstorm warning. So there's a new scan for you. The one thing, if you'll notice, that I've started to see with this line is that they're starting to get a whole lot more in terms of green and yellow and orange before you get to the red. And that, to me, is indicating that it is weakening, which is a good thing, right? But it's also a bad thing because a storm that's weakening, if you've got a stronger updraft and that updraft were to get cut off, then you could see stronger straight line winds as that updraft has got to go somewhere and gravity's going to force it down. And once it hits the ground, it spreads out at a 90-degree angle, causing straight line winds. Also can be called a microburst if you've ever heard of that. I was looking at that earlier, and I don't think we're at any risk of microbursts across the area. Let's see here. Base reflectivity. So the reason why this storm right here that's got the warning is so strong enough that the Louisville Weather Service has it as a severe thunderstorm warning is because this is the 0.5 scan, so that's the lower part of the storm. If you actually scan up 3.5 degrees, which from Louisville would be scanning pretty high up into that storm, it's still showing, we're still showing reflectivity values upwards of 40 to 45 and even 47 dBz, which means that the storm is very strong and it's a deep level of convection, so it goes higher from the surface. If you look at that in that regard, what's headed towards Saltillo and Campbellsburg right now, and even Salem, this at 3.5 degrees, you don't see a whole lot of reflectivity. So those storms are a little bit more shallow, probably not as capable of producing as strong of winds as what the storm was that went through Paoli and is now going through the north of English. That one's headed towards Marengo. We do have another area here that's a little stronger on a higher scan. That would be headed towards Hardinsburg. Let's take a look and see if we see any rotation, so to speak. I mean, there's just a little bit. I think that's just because that storm is deep enough. Again, around 25,000 to 30,000 feet in height. Ville indicates hail. Don't see that. Don't see a whole lot of anything. Spooky sounding in Campbellsburg. Yep. Calming down in Paoli. Thank you. Yes, 6-7 needs to go away for sure. Bromer, just really windy and heavy rain. So I think that's out towards Orleans, right? That's north of 56. Let's see if I'm trying to think about Bromer. I think that's out in this region right here. I think. So that would prove accurate in that this is probably behind a little bit since the radar takes about 6 minutes to scan all the way around. Oh, let's see. Yeah, the winds are going to start to pick up all across Washington County now. Campbellsburg is in on the action. Probably as we speak right now, Campbellsburg is getting some of their stronger wind gusts. I wouldn't rule out anything from 45 to 50 miles per hour. I don't see a tight gradient here of colors, so I'm doubting you get all the way up to 60 mile per hour gust. Probably just between 40 and 50. Isolated 55 if you're north of Saltillo here. So you can see some of these pockets here where the storm is a little bit more intense higher up. Campbellsburg probably will get 45 or 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Check on our little warning down here in southeastern Orange County. Again, you can see the one thing that I find interesting is this storm that went through Paoli that's headed just south of Livonia. So if you live between 56 and 150 out in the country, the Rosebud area, I mean, I do think you might see wind gusts up in those 50 mile per hours because we can see even on a 3.5 degree base reflectivity scan, you can see where the this is a little bit stronger of an area, as is this area down here headed towards Marengo. So just something to kind of watch out for there. Don't see much of a hail risk, but this would indicate to me, this area right here, that it is growing in intensity. So again, that's between 56 and 150. Between Livonia and Hardinsburg. Hardinsburg-Livonia Road. And ironically enough, look at that. They extended the severe thunderstorm warning further up into that now. So almost up near Livonia. So I'm betting, I don't think this shows Rosebud. I'm betting Rosebud is probably in this as well. This severe thunderstorm warning. Fredericksburg now in the severe thunderstorm warning. That means that the potential is there for at least 60 mile per hour wind gust. Okay, that's that threshold on the severe thunderstorm warning that we are looking at. Base reflectivity still there. If we look at the storm relative velocity, just to look for rotation, not seeing a whole lot. I think it's just a consequence of directional shear where the wind is changing directions rapidly as you go vertically from the surface of the earth. But that is approaching in on Salem here in the next few minutes. I'd be interested to know some of the people in Campbellsburg, kind of what you're seeing. Let's go back and look at the comments. Anybody in Campbellsburg? Hardinsburg, perhaps? Hardinsburg, in the next 5 minutes, you'll start to increase a little bit. Nothing more exciting than this, though, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, sorry. That's the nerd part of me coming out. Fortunately. Anybody got anything? Nothing in Hardinsburg, Wolf? Oh, hi, Ellie. Hope you're doing well. Let me check and see my other radar here. I want to see what precipitation has been estimated. So actually we're looking at around, between a quarter of an inch and half an inch. Nothing in Hardinsburg yet. Campbellsburg must have rained pretty good there in Saltillo because they've already got them between a quarter of an inch and a half an inch of rain. And that's headed right there towards Campbellsburg. Paoli, spotty, in around probably a tenth of an inch up to around a half an inch. Actually, let me see here. So here's what's funny. I live in Orange County, okay? And most of this is through Orange County, so I find this really cool. The temperature has dropped 14 degrees. It was 70 when this hit. The temperature is now 56 degrees, so it has dropped 14 degrees in a matter of what? 20 minutes? Again, nothing you'd probably feel, but I find that pretty cool. Salem now starting to probably ramp up some wind gust a little bit. It's through Campbellsburg, so just rain in Saltillo, Campbellsburg. Let's see here. Got that severe thunderstorm warning still for this part of this segment of the line. So all the way from about Rosebud, near Highway 56, south all the way to Hardinsburg through Fredericksburg, Marengo, Milltown, and DePaul. So that it'll be north of Corden in northern Harrison counties. Again, we'll check it again to make sure. The storm's still moving east at 45 miles per hour. 60 mile per hour wind gusts, radar indicated. Locations to be impacted by this warning would be English, Marengo, Milltown, Hardinsburg, Fredericksburg, Temple, DePaul, Fairdale, Rego, and Hogtown. There you go, Brad. Maybe that's bacon. Let's see. At my location, 0.22 of an inch of rain. Ooh, let's see. Go back here. Okay, let's see here. Hardinsburg, not too high winds yet. No. Hardinsburg, hang on, Patty. Let me zoom in here. Hardinsburg's probably getting it right now or within the next 5 minutes. Since the radar is behind just a little bit. Again, I wouldn't expect anything. I mean, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. Let's see. Go back to the comments. Nothing Hardinsburg yet. A lot of wind in Hardinsburg. Some next golf outing. No, I did not see that Salem has a new simulator. You might want to text me that information. A lot of rain here, so I think that's Campbellsburg area. Patty, let me know if Hardinsburg should be in it right now. It should be ramping up right now. Winds were crazy, yeah. Let's see. No rain, just wind. It's picking up now. Yeah, you're only going to get a brief area of heavy rain, maybe 10 minutes. Enough again to put down a quarter of an inch, maybe a half inch if you're in a stronger area. It does lighten up right after, but I will say the winds won't go away. The winds will continue blowing and gusting off and on all night. Not up to the level that you're going to see in this line, but, you know, decent amount. Seems to be letting up in Campbellsburg. Good. See you, Dakota. Let's see. Seems to be calm between Salem and Pekin. Eerily calm. Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. Typically also with a line segment can be because of the inflow. So the winds that are blowing into the storm to sustain the updraft of the storm. Sometimes you can see that. I don't think you're going to see anything east of Salem for a little bit longer, as Salem is still trying to get in it. Sorry, I'm responding to a few people. Thank you for letting me know that I'm live. Let's see. Still got a severe thunderstorm warning in place here. Extreme southeastern Orange County, southwestern Washington County, northeastern Crawford County, and northwestern Harrison County in place here. Base reflectivity, I mean, you can see the difference between cumulative, which is the strongest reflectivity in the line, and it's plotted, whereas base reflectivity is just what you're seeing at the surface. So, you know, still stronger section here, even up towards Salem, stronger section. If we check the base reflectivity, though, higher up in the storm to see the true power of a storm, is it stronger just at the surface, or is it strong throughout a longer, like a higher column in the atmosphere? You can see where it starts to weaken as it heads towards Salem and points off to the north. That's why I don't think Campbellsburg, Saltillo got it too hard. But we're seeing the stronger part of this line down here. Actually, if you zoom in here, 3.5 degrees south of English, and you're picking up reflectivity values north of 50 dBz. So that's a fairly intense part of the line there. Some of this could be due to the radar kind of its tilt as it goes further away from the storm, since you're getting closer to the storm there. Let's see. Tops of the storm still looking at the same, somewhere between 20 and 30,000 feet. Let's see. The VIL, which is vertically integrated liquid. Don't see much in terms of that for hail. Storm relative velocity. You know, you can see a little bit of disorganized, tiny little rotation here in this this corridor of counties meeting up south of Hardinsburg. There's no tornado warnings or anything, just severe thunderstorm warning. If we actually zoom in on this, you can see where Hardinsburg is being hit right now, probably the hardest. Fredericksburg will be in on this within the next 5 minutes, as will anybody that lives between Hardinsburg, Fredericksburg, Livonia, 56. Again, this is in southwestern Washington County. Pekin, still nothing there. Fredericksburg, Palmyra, you're still kind of waiting things out just a little bit. Marengo should be getting it now. Should be starting to calm down a little bit in English. Milltown will be in on the action here very soon. We're not seeing anything outrageously severe, though, here, which is kind of what we thought. I was in the group of people that did not believe that this was going to be as severe when it reached us, just because we're further away from that rotational axis up further north, like towards Lafayette, Indiana. They had several tornado warnings actually in central Illinois. I know one was confirmed on the ground as it was cited by a spotter, but nothing in this part. I mean, we've had a brief tornado warning around Bloomfield about an hour and a half ago, but nothing else since. And here we go. The National Weather Service in Louisville has canceled the severe thunderstorm warning in Washington County that was affecting Washington, parts of Orange, Crawford, and Harrison County. So that's no longer a severe thunderstorm warning. All that means is that they're not seeing in their systems and on their radar and their software, they're not seeing the potential for wind gusts to get to 60 miles per hour in the storm. Does not mean it's still not gusting 50, 55 miles per hour. So just because that warning has went away, don't take that as a sign to let your guard down. Let's see. Brownstown's in the clear now. Seymour should be coming into the clear. Crothersville and Austin will be getting in on the action in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So will Little York. Salem is probably right now, I would guess. Downtown Salem is probably getting their part of this line, a little weaker to the north there. Let's see. Let's check and see if anybody's commented anything. Picking up some now. Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Kristen. Go enjoy bidding against people. Hogtown's a great place. Had some friends from there. There you go. Well, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. I'll try not to diss on the other weather people, even though you know me well enough to know how I feel. Raining in Hardinsburg now. Some winds. That was, about a minute ago. Let me zoom in just a little bit on that. There you go. Hardinsburg's now in the picture there where you can see Hardinsburg. So actually kind of the worst. This line kind of got right over Hardinsburg, and then it kind of transitioned its some more strength kind of developed over Fredericksburg. So Fredericksburg getting it right now as well. Again, I'm not expecting anything majorly widespread here. Toward John Jones, wind and rain here in Salem. Yeah, the heavier stuff's a little further to the south and southwest of you. I'm still not seeing anything really too impressive. I mean, 50, 55 mile per hour wind gusts are still nothing to, not get excited about, but it's nothing too severe. To be honest, I'm staying on here just because I know a lot of you in this area, just to ensure that nothing else pops up, since we kind of see some of these warnings popping up. But across most of the area here, I mean, southern Jackson County, southeastern Jackson County, still kind of dealing with this line, and then that warning will be let to expire. But you can see it stretching across Washington County, across the Salem area, down towards Hardinsburg, Fredericksburg, and then we're southeast now of English. And you do see where the intensity does kind of pick up a little further to the south there. We've only got one severe thunderstorm warning in effect in this area. That would be the one up in Jackson, Jennings, Decatur County, up towards Rush and Fayette counties. If we look at the tops across the area, and if you noticed, if you've been with me for the last hour, or however long I've been on here, you would notice that this was a solid line of storm cloud tops in the 20 to 30,000 foot region. Now you're starting to notice where it's starting to get scattered in a lot of areas. And I think that is a product of some of these storms starting to blow out. So they're just starting to weaken. Again, you get away from a lot of that vorticity and they just can't sustain themselves. And another sign we have a strong cold pull. And if a cold pull can get into or is too close to a thunderstorm, then you start ingesting cold air up into the thunderstorm, in which case that's going to kill an updraft and thus kill the intensity of a storm. I just want to check and see at my location. It was 70 degrees. We dropped about 14 degrees in 15 minutes. Yeah, and we're still holding steady in the mid 50s. So I do want to let me pull this back up just to show you again. No hail. Starting to scatter about. This is kind of our latest scans here. You can see a weaker spot in that line just north of Salem. This scan should be updating. Oh, it's updating in 7 seconds. See, I don't do this as often as I would like, so I'm still learning parts of the software. 1 second, 0. And so now it should update any second, or at least I thought it would. There you go. Across the area there. If we go to the base reflectivity, you can still see stronger storm here in northern Harrison County, but no warning for that, so wind gusts probably generally in the 50s. Storm reflectivity, kind of starting to see where these storms are starting to blow out. That's what that green is indicating. Winds blowing towards the radar. So they're starting to they're starting to blow out in this area. So across Washington County, the storms are those updrafts are starting to weaken. Let me zoom back out here. I do want to look at a couple of things. Let me go back in my software real fast. Thanks, Lori. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad it wasn't as strong. There was the latest update there as what we thought. Let me see if I can try to manage this again. Here we go. This would be my other program I've got, GR Earth. If we look at the quantitative precipitation estimates, I'm going to let this play through a couple of times. Most of the area is seeing right around 1/4 inch of rain, with some scattered blue spots, which are indicating a 1/2 inch. But I do want to look at another thing here. Let's look at temperature. I'm going to turn off that. I'm going to turn off that. And I want to look at temperatures across the area. Here you go. Yeah, you guys can see this. So look at the 70s here. That's what was surging right ahead of this line. You can see Louisville still in on the action on 72, 71, 71. And that might have, I apologize, I didn't look it up. 72, I think, was very close to the all-time high record temperature in Louisville for December 28th. So they may have broke it. And you can see the 60s further to the north, but those 70s surging in. And then right as that front starts to pass, you can see that it's an instantaneous drop of 15 degrees back down into the mid 50s. And then already approaching the Indiana-Illinois border are temperatures in the upper 30s. So what is that? I mean, you've got Louisville to essentially Mount Vernon, Illinois. So that's a 30-degree difference in just that span. That would be I-64, right, all the way over to Mount Vernon out of Louisville. So 30-degree difference in temperature. That is absolutely crazy. Let me see if I do have wind chill. Yeah, look at the wind chill. Central Illinois. And this is what's headed our way tonight. Wind chills, which combination of the temperature and the wind gust, but already in the teens, low teens in Illinois. Isn't that crazy? We got wind chills reported in Vincennes right now of 37. It was just 70 degrees there, upper 60s, like 2 hours ago. Look at the wind chills that are on the way. This is Iowa right now. Yeah, that's a negative sign in front of that. That's down around 10 below zero. So got quite a cold air mass. See, I would love to experience that. But anyways, I'll get back to my other program here. Wind and rain has arrived between Pekin and Salem. Yep. And I think it's just going to weaken. I mean, you may see those 45 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts, but I just really think this line is just really starting to die out, lose its strength. I'll wait for the next update here. You can see it come across the area. It doesn't look to have weakened too much right there. Ooh, did they just reissue a warning? Sure did. So there's been a new severe thunderstorm warning issued just east of Fredericksburg. And again, this is just simply indicating that the winds could gust up to 60 miles per hour. That's all this is. This is radar indicated. Storm's still moving at 45 miles per hour due to the east. This would impact Clarksville, Charlestown, Sellersburg, Pekin, Palmyra, Borden, Navalton, St. Joseph, Speed, and Carwood. I love how it throws some of these names of these places that I have just never even heard, and I've lived here my whole life. But anyways, again, the difference between a severe thunderstorm right now and a non-severe thunderstorm doesn't have to do anything with hail. It's all about the winds. Could you see winds around 60 miles per hour, north of 55 miles per hour? So that's kind of what we're looking at there. You do still have some warnings up further to the north of Washington County. It's not in Scott County yet. It's starting to enter Scott County. I'll be interested to see if they extend that warning. But that's kind of what we got going on. I mean, if you're in Lawrence County, if you're in Orange County, if you're in the majority of Crawford County or even Perry, DuBois, Spencer County, you are safe and good to go. You're just going to see some general wind gust in the 30 mile per hour up to 40 mile per hour range really until about 6 a.m. tomorrow, and it'll start to be cooling down. The temperature will be cooling down drastically. If you, let's say, for instance, right now, if you're in Borden, you are probably, I'm guessing your temperature is probably in the upper 60s to near 70. I mean, we are losing more solar radiation with the time, so you may be in the 65-degree range. But you're going to drop about 15 degrees once this line comes through. And Stephanie, I can see what you're talking about with between Pekin and Salem. You should have already dropped probably 15 degrees. You're probably in the mid 50s now. It's kind of that instantaneous drop of temperature. That will be quickly exiting the area. You can see, though, where this is showing some weak rotation in that storm. Nothing too great, but it is there. That's north of Palmyra. So if you were to take, what's the highway name north of Palmyra to Salem? Is it 135? I could have just made that up. But anyways, if you're between Salem and Palmyra, you're getting hit with that right now. And then that will be headed just south of Pekin, directly towards Borden, actually. And we'll probably miss Sellersburg just a little bit, or at least this core area here. Let me check and see. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome, and bundle up for tomorrow. I still got a few of you on here, though. We can see here where those winds are kind of blowing out. That's what this is. This green area is indicating winds blowing towards the radar. So you're seeing this section of the line begin to blow out. That's past Salem right now. Salem's calming down. Again, you may see some scattered light rain showers here over the next hour, hour and a half across the majority of this area. I will not be on here long enough. Cody, if you're watching, I don't know if you're watching. I know you're over in Switzerland County. It's not that I don't love my followers over in Switzerland County, but I'm getting older by the day, and I can't handle staying up too late. So very rarely, unless you have a tornado warning, do I cover Switzerland County. But again, you can see this unique little feature here north of Palmyra. 135, sweet. Thanks, Zach. I'm glad to know that I somehow remembered that. Let's see, southern Harrison County, so just south of Corden, actually, there's a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's in effect for the next 32 minutes. That storm is moving east at 40. Again, radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour wind gust. That's what it is. We've not seen a tornado warning in a very long time. We had a low percent chance of tornadoes anyways, 2% chance put out by the Storm Prediction Center. But it's enough to get your attention, and you have to kind of watch it. So we're just dealing with a few of these last severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm going to be honest, I'm probably only going to be on here for another minute or two, just because I am very confident that it's just what we've been seeing all night. This line, you may see winds upwards of 50 to 55 miles per hour. If you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, you might see it gust to 60 miles per hour. I will post on Facebook if for some reason there was a tornado warning to be issued. But at this time, it looks pretty standard across the area. You're going to see temperatures in the upper 60s to around 70 out ahead of this line. And then you're going to see an immediate 15-degree drop into the mid-50s. And then you're going to see it cool off the rest of the night. By the time you wake up in the morning, it will be nice and chilly. So anyways, Nathan, Salem's looking good. You're done. I mean, if you live east of Salem, you might still be getting some heavier rain. But Salem's out of the threat. That line has passed off to your east. And otherwise, everybody, if you got any questions or anything, you can just post them on Facebook, message me on Facebook. I don't even know if you can message through YouTube, probably not. Or you can text me if you have my number. Otherwise, have a good night, stay safe, and hopefully we can do this